This next one is from Moses. Cool, let's hear from Moses. What's Moses got to say?
Hello, my name is Moses Marrero. I just wanted to
Moses.
know. I have a website in the internet, Shopify website. I wanted to know what's the best way to promote a store online.
What's the best way to promote a store online? All right. First of all, Shopify, great guys. Toby, Harley, they've done a really good job building out e-commerce. Just sort of lift and stamp. You can have that on your own site. Love it. Great. I would recommend them. They're awesome. There's a bunch of great stores too, by the way. And then what's the best way of driving traffic to your stores? Well, there's a handful of things that I want you to think about. One, like there's a way to pay to drive traffic to the store. There's also like using ads on the internet, Facebook ads, Google, YouTube, Instagram, all that stuff. But before I go into that, I also want you to think that's a bucket. The other bucket is you can create a community around the things that you do and love, and ideally they're like that store that you're selling. So if your store is birdseed, and you want to sell different types of birdseed, and you love birds, well then start a community and start posting on social about all the things you love around birds, your bird photographs, your bird trips, your birding, your goggles, what are you doing to create content around the things that you love that point to the things that are relevant in your store, or that are where there's overlap, like your store selling birdseed and you love birds. What are you doing to make content and build community around birds? That was probably the least awesome example I've ever had, but conceptually you understand it. And that bucket is you're making content and creating community around the thing that you love, and your jab, right hooking, your give, ask, your adding value to the community by sharing your wisdom and connecting with others around the thing that you care about. And then when people find out that you have a store, then they will be way more likely to buy than any sort of cold lead. So that bucket is just about building community around the thing that your store does, if you love that. There's a lot of examples. I use jab, right hook, so I'll reference Gary V here. He built a community around wine with, at the backside of that is like, oh, if you learned about wine from Gary, you're more likely to buy wine at Wine Library. So I think that's one bucket. The other bucket, let's go back to the paid thing. It's very important that you don't just, I think, willy-nilly go into paying for ads on Facebook and Instagram and whatnot. And a lot of people do this. I see it approached in a very unanalytic way. It's just ramshackle. It's all over the place. And I think that's a bad approach. I think you should have a strategy, and that strategy should be around, you've heard the concept of A/B testing. And you can do this really easily with, there's like simple, I referenced Creative Live earlier. There's how to buy Facebook ads, how to buy Google ads. There's whole classes around that for creatives. You should go check that out. But the context there is you approach it with a very campaign thought. You have a budget, you decide how much you're going to spend, and you test different results. You test the results of this ad or this photograph against this one, this verbiage against this one in one particular thing, like Facebook, for example. You test this audience versus that audience, and you do that in small amounts. That's the benefit of doing this stuff online, right? Is that you actually get you get data back on the results, and then when that data comes back positive, you can increase your spending. And it's important to also have an understanding about like how much, what kind of profit margins are you making in your store, and so that you don't pay $20 to get somebody to your store, and then find out that they only buy a $10 item. That's going to make you go out of business very fast. So it would be wise to invest some time learning about the cost of, like, what your margins are and what the cost of acquisition, what the lifetime value, the LTV of people who buy from your store, how much they spend over the course of 30, 60, 90, 120 a year, 18 months, whatever, and how much you pay to get that customer. So just because you can go on and buy any Facebook ad doesn't mean you shouldn't test, but you should definitely have a strategy and a point of view or you can pay little dollars, like $10, $20 to learn some of this stuff. Bring in a pro to help you with this. There's all kinds of classes. I already mentioned Creative Live. To me, this is a, if you're trying to drive to a store, you should be doing some element of both of these things. The top line point of view that I have is you should have a strategy. You shouldn't just run willy-nilly into the midst, whatever. Just don't run into shit if you don't have a plan. And you can learn, that's right, lifelong learning. Use small money to figure it out, to buy AdWords and all that stuff. Again, you can probably deconstruct the best people out there that are doing it. Look at what they're doing, see where you see their ads, think about doing something similarly. That is a huge piece of, like, I say it almost every episode, don't I? Like, deconstruct other folks. There you go.